Actually, no, 5,000. They have not won a game yet in the KDL. So for both teams, this is the first $5,000 they're looking to snag. And for every consecutive win you get, you earn an additional $1,000 on top of that 5,000 for, I believe, a bonus of up to an extra $6,000. So it really adds up. If you just win every single game, hello, extra money. They're the badass Dota trophies. I guess statues, not trophies. Although it would be pretty cool if the winning team gets one of those. But for those of you who are wondering who I am, what this league is, this is the KDL Korean Dota 2 League. My name is Whiplash, and it looks like we're ready. Let's go ahead and move into the pick and ban phase once again. This is a Tier 1 match, and it's Set2, 4th day of the broadcast. 5&Q removing the Mirana. Looks like they don't want BirdGang messing around with that hero. And will we see a Tinker Respect ban? I can't imagine BirdGang playing that hero again, but I mean, it's certainly possible. The Nyx removed from the pool instead. BirdGang, though, definitely deciding, all right, we let Slark through last time, and that was clearly a mistake that we do not want to repeat. Yeah, after the match, I'll try to find out information on QO. And 5&Q deciding, all right, Invoker, you're ours. Invoker really valued highly in the Korean scene. He's pretty much picked and banned like 100% of the time, I feel. And BirdGang deciding to take away Doom from 5&Q, which they did run to pretty solid. It's pretty good succession last game. There's KSH. He did play on the Doom last game. Generally handles the mid hero for 5&Q. At least when QO isn't around, occasionally moving towards the mid lane. And Ember Spirit as the second ban for BirdGang. Not a huge surprise there as well. I don't think anyone wants to play against that hero in competitive play. At least from the Korean end of things. And JYU handled the Nature's Prophet last match. Wasn't so successful. Overall, just quite annoying at extending the game beyond an hour. That's what he did excel at. And BirdGang picking up Storm Spirit. So, is it going to be... MP, I'm assuming MP will play the Storm Spirit. That Storm Spirit could end up in a different lane, but probably will be in the mid lane. Most likely played by MP. And Lifestealer probably will end up on Segun. Lifestealer, pretty much always a good hero to pick. I mean, he's so solid. He has a BKB built into him. You don't need too much farm for him to be useful early on. When you get farm with him, he's just an absolute monster. Late game especially, once you have that basher. Yeah, Zephyr are undefeated. They're 2-0. I guess technically 3-1 overall games-wise, but they've won their matches against BirdGang and MVP Phoenix. And they're actually they're in the studio right now. I think Purge is just chilling on a sandbag on the top floor. The studio here is amazing. Like it really is nice. If you live in Korea, you got to come down and see it if you haven't. I imagine everyone watching this broadcast isn't in Korea. Otherwise, we'd probably just come to the studio. Yeah, just looking at the next few bans, BirdGang deciding that they don't want to play against a Bat Rider. I believe he was banned out last game, but I think 5NQ decided to do the banning. And Ancient Apparition as well as Venomancer, 2 supports being removed from the pool. Although neither of them have actual stuns, they're still very effective in other ways. You know, Venomancer with his Plague Wards, just the slow, venomous scale. Ancient Apparition as well. I mean, we've been seeing him in the past 2 games, but not in game number 3. By the last 2 games, I don't mean in this series, I mean both the Tier 2 and the Tier 1 match. For anyone that tuned in after the Tier 1 match, or Tier 2 match ended, it was between Eye of the Tiger Hammer and their opposition MVP Hot 6. And MVP, unfortunately, for you MVP fans out there, they did end up falling to Eye of the Tiger. And who do I feel is the best mid player in Korea? Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to say MP is pretty darn good. I did see King kind of manhandle Blitz, though, in their previous match. In a matchup that should have been really Timbersaw favored. It was the Magnus versus the Timbersaw, and Heen did a very good job in lane. So I'd like to say that both of them are very good. But maybe I'd be a little bit more afraid of MP because he has a much bigger hero pool. There is FX, one of the supports for 5NQ. So Ursa, picked up by BirdGang. I'm actually really curious, will we see an IO pickup last? And Dazzle for 5NQ. Dazzle's become a lot more popular recently in Dota. Ever since they buffed his ultimate, it's really good, and it's available almost every fight. It even has an Agnum Scepter upgrade to it, which we don't generally see people get. There's just a lot of other items that are important on him or needed. Force Staff. Cynical looking to be holding the reins for 5NQ, as QO is not around. But looking at the lineups, BirdGang, there's a lot of different ways they could kind of lane this. I do imagine that a support will be picked, and the IO ban. Yeah, I'm very, very happy that 5NQ decided to get rid of that. It seemed pretty obvious, actually. That would be the ban. So now the question is, what does BirdGang use for their final support hero? Crystal Maiden is in the map pool, not the map pool, the hero pool. There's only one map for Dota 2, at least for competitive play. And really, still a lot of available options. Maybe a Lion could be picked. They certainly need someone with a stun, though. Or some type of good slow. 5NQ, missing an offlaner. Timbersaw still available for them. Nature's Prophet as well could be used. And the Visage. So going for the show up and blow up strategy. And Tenbird played the Sand King in the former match. Balls of steel, but steel balls that broke quite easily, unfortunately. He died a lot. Five and Q down to their last pick. An offlaner, most likely what they lack. I honestly think the Timbersaw pickup here is quite fine. Can do great against the Ursa and Doom. Well, okay against the Doom. The strength heroes, it's good against. Chasing power. But, who knows? Maybe a lone druid could even be in the books for 5 and Q. They still have a minute and 20 seconds to figure out exactly how they want to finish up their composition. And it's going to be finished up with the Viper. I think Invoker offlane or offensive tri-lane with the Viper and put the Invoker in a 1v1 scenario. Well, regardless of the lineups, we're going to find out exactly what both teams plan on doing shortly. Here's the hoping we don't have another 65-minute game. Anyway, this is the KDL Korean Dota 2 League. My name is Whiplash, reporting live from the Nexon Arena in Seoul, Korea. BirdGang, 5 and Q, Game 2 out of a best-of-3 series. Let's get into the match. And once again, starting up with a smoke. We've been seeing them early every single match so far. But regardless, this is the Tier 1 Korean Dota 2 League. This is match 4, set 2, between BirdGang and 5 and Q. Oh, and Viper, he's spotted. In comes the Nightmare, and I imagine that's going to be a first blood on Ranso. Oh, but he's graved! He is graved! And MP, he's starting to get focus fire down, but Cynical, he's going to give up first blood. And this is just an absolute disaster for 5 and Q, the slow, hitting Sagan, a little bit of body blocking from KSH. He is now getting low, and indeed he will fall. Double kill. BirdGang. I almost want to call it right here. This game is over. That's an early bottle for the Storm Spirit. Talk about worst case scenarios. The only thing I could see being worse is an early Roshan. Man, MP, if he wasn't scary enough, he's about to become a monster. This Invoker is not going to have fun. He really isn't. The Storm Spirit, already level 2, so he's going to have an experience advantage. Oh, Ringus Basilius opening for KSH. He really likes to favor that. Almost always getting it. But as far as the other lineups go, Invoker versus Storm Spirit, a pretty classic lineup for the mid lane. Even already a little bottle crowing action from MP. It's only 1 minute into the match, so of course the runes aren't really available. But Gandhi handling the Visage, Tenbird, as well as the Bane, helping out Ursa at top. And Sagan by 5 and Q, playing the carry role. So interestingly enough, this is an off-lane Viper. I imagine that 5 and Q were hoping to get a 1v1, or maybe it was the Storm Spirit or the Urs or the Doom in a lane, but that's clearly not the case. It's just a straight up tri-lane versus tri-lane. And man, look at these supports dive, completely forcing Runso away. Not even able to get experience on his tower. And I think he said, all right, that's it. Dazzle, go ahead and help me out. Grave Chill slows down the Viper. As far as the mid lane goes, 15-6 last hits. Storm Spirit way ahead of the pack. I mean, this Storm Spirit, if he doesn't snowball out of control very fast this game, then I'll be very disappointed in MP. Gandhi and Tenbird doing a good job just pulling a few creeps to the side, making it even harder for this Viper to get experience. Both heroes just trading a bit of harassment in the middle lane. Good ward placement from 5 and Q in the bottom. This Lifestealer should get pretty much uninterrupted farm. I mean, there's just nobody in the bottom lane from BirdGang. They've decided to abandon it completely. All right, a little bit of sentry ward action in the top. Nothing beyond that. I guess Rubik getting a little bit of farm. He has 8 last hits. And, I mean, he is level 3. So the supports on 5 and Q. Oh, hold that thought, though. Viper, he's in a lot of trouble and forces the Grave Chill on him to keep him alive. Not Grave Chill, but it doesn't even matter. Down Viper goes. And that's going to be some extra boots for the Ursa. The Phase Tread's already online. But this is an invisible Storm Spirit with a double damage rune available to him. Okay, never mind. The invisibility rune is gone, but the double damage rune does remain. Tenbird moving in. I am pretty sure that KSH is just not going to be able to survive this. In comes the Nightmare. MP is going to follow it up with a little bit of DPS, but KSH, very nice delaying, buying some time. The double damage rune is activated, and MP, he'll get a triple. Well, not a triple, but he'll get his 3rd kill. And Rando decides to turn it around, gets a kill. Can he also get a kill on Gunny? Yes, he does. Well played by Rento. Very well played. And he's 3-1. Ranto's 3-1. So putting a stop to a Storm Spirit for the time being. He's so close to level 6 though. And this could be a really bad. Doom ends up falling. FX, they're going right on top of him. MP, he's level 6, another hit or two, and it'll be enough. Down the Rubik goes. Tenbird joining in the fight. Rando forced to retreat. Extremely low on health. Invoker will survive. This is the Korean Dota action I'm talking about. Constant fighting and suiciding back and forth. Segun and Ursa almost even in last hits. We have a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We have a game. As we do see Sky rotate towards the bottom. And Tenbird buying a smoke. And Invoker now has his phase boots. And I don't imagine we're going to be seeing a Hand of Midas on him anytime soon. And, you know, I wouldn't hate him for just foregoing the handy as well. Just moving into maybe a 4-staff or something. Oh, JYU in a bit of trouble. I mean, he will be okay for the time being. A little bit of ward placement. Should make it easy for them to spot any creep pulling to that bottom lane, or the bottom creep camp in the top. So, Ranto, I have to say, you're getting a little confident here. Oh, actually, FX gets a nice jump. Tenbird under a lot of fire, but he is lucky. He'll be able to escape. Also, nice spell stolen. I think he could have picked up the Nightmare. Maybe Rubik would have been a little bit happier with that. But I suppose FX can't be too unhappy with what he has. Ursa's still a whiles away from getting his Vladimir's offering. Storm Spirit already has his first staff completed towards the Orchid. Unfortunately, 5 and Q, their mid laner not getting a terribly good amount of farm. MP leading as far as that goes. And the Sky in a little bit of trouble, turns around with the Doom, but Sagan, along with the help of FX, it should be enough, but in comes MP. FX, down he goes, and Sagan looks like he could end up being next. He falls 2 for 0. The turnarounds, the turnarounds. BirdGang, I have to say, they are certainly outplaying 5Q throughout the majority of this match. But I am just darn happy to see a lot more action compared to last game where it was AFK, Rice Farms, 60 minutes, okay, GG. All right, calm down there, Sagan. You're just teleporting away, you're not at a rave. I do enjoy the little animations Valve puts in, though, for their heroes when they're teleporting. Well, who do I think, out of all the Korean teams, can get into TI4? Well, Zephyr, I would have to say, had the best chance. After that, maybe MVP Phoenix would be the closest. I think those would be my 2 top picks. I would be surprised if the team stayed the same by the time we got to the TI4, but... Oh, Ranto, he's in a lot of trouble. Staying alive thanks to the Cynical. And down he gets chased by BirdGang. And now the lift on JYU. He's actually in a bit of trouble, actually running away. Down he falls. Ranto on a killing spree. This is not good for BirdGang. Ranto's just getting a little bit too big, too fast. And Sagan has been free farming 57 last hits before 10 minutes into the match. They're going to have 2 very capable carries on their end. Well, BirdGang, they do need a little bit more time for the Doom, the Ursa, and the Storm Spirit to really become the damage dealers that they want to be. 5Q, their mid-game looks really scary. BirdGang can be somewhat as well, but I'd say, you know, maybe after the 25-30 minute mark is when BirdGang will really start to hit their stride. 5Q can compete, but I would say just, you know, a little bit stronger earlier on, and then it kind of evens out. So Smoke, purchased by the Visage. He's also not far away from the mechanism. A little bit of lull in the action. Both teams just sitting back, doing a bit of farming. 11 minutes into the game, 5-7. Tornado EMP action trying to dissuade MP from getting too much farm. And in goes Rento on Gandhi, but he's going to port away and be just fine. Cancel port from Tenbird as well. And there's the Vladimir's offering, picked up by Ursa. In he goes to the Roshan pit. The question is, does 5Q try to do something against this? Oh man. Off he goes. MP's got a lot of mana, surprisingly. It does seem like Ursa should get the Roshan kill pretty easily. They are on the Dire side. A little bit of a home field advantage when trying to Roshan. Dazzle with the Mana Boots pick up. Doom has his mechanism as well as another pair of Mana Boots on the Bane. Last hit, why is this? Man, this Lifestealer. He's getting online. Ranto as well picking up a mechanism. So I'm assuming then Visage, he's not going for the mechanism. He did have a buckler in his inventory. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication between BirdGang. Next time we get a shot of Gandhi's items, we'll know for sure. But Doom already does have his mechanism. The tier 1 tower getting pretty low on health. Uh-oh, Segun cut out of position, uses the rage, but it doesn't matter. Tenbird with the ultimate, and JYU just right-clicking him to death. Down goes the lifestealer. So that's got to be nice. I would have liked to see a little bit more ward coverage from 5 and Q. But it's all towards the top and middle. Nice deny by the Ursa. BirdGang continuing to just, I feel, outplay their opponents ever so slightly. Invoker could go for the Tornado EMP, but decides not to. Sky, he gets hit with the weave and a lot of other damage overtime spells. Forces the mech, but I don't think... Oh man, he is barely going to survive. Ranto in huge amounts of trouble, forced to escape. And yeah, oh, look at the deny with Cynical. Very, very well played. That was textbook Doom denying. Cynical always looks like he has somewhat of a grin on his face when he's talking. But BirdGang, they do get the middle tower, as well as denying their own middle tower. 5-9, 14 minutes into the game. BirdGang, it seems like they're in a better position. Viper's kill streak was ended. Yeah, the Invoker not going to try and build a Hand of Midas. Storm Spirit picks up his Orchid of Malevolence. 14.5 minutes into the game, too. Pretty darn good timing. And of course, that kind of stems from the early first 2 kills, which both went to Storm Spirit, and just having that advantage in lane against the Invoker. Viper, though, for 5 and Q, Viper has had a pretty decent game. He's picked up a lot of kills, been in a lot of fights. And the Lifestealer has been farming a lot himself. I'm assuming he's going to build into his Sange and Yasha. Surprised he isn't getting that armlet. Or the drum. I think he already has drums, actually. Excuse me. And Ursa gets the Blink Dagger. Probably we'll see a Sheep Stick on him next. Ooh. MP, he's close to the Invoker. Close to the Lifestealer. MP playing with fire, almost trying to bait somebody out. I guess he is kind of hard to kill. He can just Ball Lightning away whenever he needs to. And I believe Cynical is actually from New Zealand. Well, regardless of that, Segun trying to go to town on Tenbird. He's going to try and survive, but on the other side, Ball Lightning stolen by FX. And Tenbird is going to chase Ranzo down along with Sky. And there's a doomed Invoker. He should be okay. Gandhi, though, may not be as lucky as he's just getting hacked away. Down he falls to Segun. And as the dust settles, it's a 1-for-1. Dazzle being traded for the Visage, so support for support. As far as lane control goes, pretty much even between top and middle. I guess a little bit of an advantage on middle for BirdGang, but bottom lane, 5 and Q, they have a 71% advantage over the 29 from BirdGang. I find that to be one of the most amusing statistics that the Koreans like to use in their overlays. Well, 5 and Q, they're continuing the hack away at the tier 2 on the bottom lane. Starting to get near that deny threshold. But I think we'll be okay for the time being. MP scoring a kill on another area of the map. Revenge for Rubik, stealing his ball lightning, I suppose. Uh-oh, Tenbird. He's getting hacked away. And actually, the mech is off, and he's staying alive for the time being, but I think he's going to end up falling, and indeed he does. Viper, though, ends up being traded, and Segun, he's looking pretty mighty powerful. The weave is in full force on him as he has plus 15 armor, but decides not to entirely pursue. Oh, man. Lots of negative armor. I think another hit or two, and Sky will fall. Well played by Segun. BirdGang, this game, it's not over yet. 5 and Q. They're making the plays where they matter, but I still think MP will be their biggest threat, or a Sheepstick Ursa when that eventually comes online. Oh, Rubik, standard 19-minute mana boots. Oranto has the mech. He's working on his Agnum Scepter from the look of things. Has a point booster available, or in his inventory. Invoker with a staff, but not much else. Cynical as well. Pretty light on the items with only mana boots. He has about 900 gold in his coffers, though, so we could see an eventual Force Staff from him. But he is supporting away, getting those wards, buying that smoke. And Sanjin Yasha just finished up for the Lifestealer. It seems like every single game now on the Korean server, the Lifestealer gets that Sanjin Yasha. I mean, it does synergize extremely well with him, so really, why not? JYU, he has an Ogre's Club, so most likely getting the Black King bar, then he'll move into the Sheepstick. And Regeneration Rune spotted in the bottom lane by Segun. He'll probably go for a Basher next. Okay, we're seeing a lot of 5 and Q. Oh, nothing happened there. Never mind. But something could happen very soon. 5 and Q. Trying to make a go at Ursa, but he's already running away. BirdGang looking to take out the tier 1 tower at the top lane. Well, there's a fortification, but that's just way too dangerous to go in on. Pretty much just stalls for time. That's about it. BirdGang, their tier 2 tower in the mid lane under fire. The 5 and Q, they're here. They're ready to fight. And I think that tower may end up falling, actually. Storm Spirit just continuing to push the top lane. And that tier 2 tower actually already down the half health. Okay, and they go on Ranto. Nice playing forward, but in comes the Tornado EMP follow-up. Ranto is staying alive, but down goes the Storm Spirit. Stolen the Doom, very well played. And Segun caught up in a ridiculous nightmare. JYU moving in, gets that kill. FX could be next as the Ursa. He's angry, protecting his comes. Gets in the stun, but slow on JYU. And he is moving quite slow. FX falls. BirdGang looking to get the bigger end of the stick. But with reinforcements, actually, wow, they get the Ursa. And Gandhi could be next. But Storm Spirit, MP, he's looking for revenge. Ball Lightning's out of there after seeing the Invoker. Almost killed, but not just quite yet. Segun, he's gonna get Sky. Down goes the Doom. And it's a 4-for-2 scenario when all is said and done. A few buybacks, but it's 12-15, 5 and Q. I think that if they get another good engagement or two, this game could be theirs. Very nice. Sagan also making sure that middle tower couldn't get denied. Goes ahead and finishes it off. Tenbird picks up a Force Staff. I really do feel like the lack of one of their core players is hurting BirdGang. Oh, March, where are you? Oh, sorry, not March, Febby. March is on MVP. But they both used to be on FXO, which is essentially 5NQ 2.0, so sometimes these players can get mixed up in. Oh, Ranto, those extra RNG stunts not helping him out whatsoever. Sagan, down he goes, and JYU could end up being... Okay, never mind, he's fine, securing the kill. BirdGang, this is going to be a Roshan for them. And I also think this really, really puts the ball in BirdGang's court. The tier 1 tower in the bottom lane could be next. Tornado doesn't even really hit too much, if anything. But yeah, 5NQ, definitely not an engagement they could afford to lose. The balance was very, very close. And now BirdGang, I feel like, if they go for a team fight, they're going to have a very large advantage. They just have too much upfront burst damage for that weave to be too useful. I mean, it's still going to help, don't get me wrong. But it's not going to have the same effect that it may on a different type of team composition. And with the Doom nukes, the Storm Spirit nukes, Ursa mauling away, you know, Visage nukes as well. Bane holding someone in place with his ultimate. It's a lot of upfront damage that can happen over a short period of time. Well, Invoker finishes up his Force Staff after an Orchid. So that's the item he was looking for. I guess there are a lot of heroes on BirdGang that you would love to disable. Really all of them. I mean, the spellcaster's more than the others, but... Uh-oh, Sagan under fire once again. Then there is the ultimate with the follow-up from JYU, but Sagan, he's staying alive for the time being. Manages to invest, he's still around. Ranto under fire, but staying alive for the time being. In comes the Invoker. Can they get Tenbird? Eats the stay alive, but excellent, excellent response from 5NQ. And can they get JYU? No, they can't. That would have been a huge pickoff. Should it have happened. Really, really nice response from 5NQ, though. That, I was almost positive that the Lifestealer was dead, but really cynical, making the most out of the dazzle at Shallow Grave. Man, has it saved the butts of 5NQ multiple times. So about 26.5 minutes into the game, 5NQ, 13 kills, 18 for BirdGang. I'd give BirdGang a bit of an edge, but still, it really is anyone's match. The fights are generally very back and forth. It's kind of unclear who's going to come out on top. It really just comes down to these team fight executions. And the Aegis will be reclaimed in just shy of 3 minutes. BirdGang, they have a final tier 1 tower to kill. And they would like to go for it. It's pretty low. There's the fortification. That means 5NQ, they want to try and contest this, but yeah, that's not happening. Maybe BirdGang or... no. Storm Spirit's okay. Well, actually moving towards the tier 2 tower. Now this is something that 5NQ doesn't want to give up for free. And man, we see Tenbird just coming around the sides. In they go on Segun. He's silenced. He is going to fall most likely, but staying alive. And now, I believe, was okay. Oh, he gets the infest. He's going to stay alive for just a little bit longer. KSH completely useless with the Doom on him, and JYU trying to go to town on him, but MP, he gets a kill. Buyback from the Rubik. And Viper manages to fall as well. KSH pops the Aegis, and 4 staffs away. So, somewhat of an even trade. But really, once again, goodbye, see you later. Ball Lightning's Segun to his death. I think it may just be a little bit too much for 5NQ. BirdGang has too much of a team fight presence. And they're going to take this advantage as they move into the tier 3 tower in the bottom lane. No fortification is available. Both of the carries are dead. Viper will be back in a few seconds, but that's still 27s on the clock for the Lifestealer. And Doom grabbing the Black King bar. Ursa, interestingly enough, with a 4-staff. I would expect him to go for a sheep stick, but hey man, mobility, that's what you get kills with on the Ursa, so why not? But 5NQ, it's almost impossible for them to get a good setup. The Storm Spirit just comes in, and then after that comes Tenbird. It's a very hard situation the fight in. 5NQ, maybe if they get a few pickoffs, they can make something happen. The Ursa would be the prime target. Get the Ursa, Storm Spirit, maybe even the Doom. They just have to pick off somebody because as a team of 5, BirdGang is just a little bit too powerful for 5NQ to deal with. But we're beyond the stage of separating. BirdGang acting as a single unified unit. Still though, the 4-staff on the Ursa. I have to say that's a little bit funny. But hey, if it works, it works. But I would have rather seen the sheep stick, in all honesty. Alright, well, Skull Basher picked up by the Lifestealer. Rubik still has a spell to steal. Oh, picks up a ward. That could have been very bad for the Rubik. No dives, no epic dives from the Storm Spirit. Alright, some pings in the mid. 5NQ, if they're going to defend the tower, they kind of need to do it. Waiting for the Tornado, EMP. And the rest of 5NQ could follow in shortly. JYU, though, he is just ready to blink in there and just slam somebody to the ground. Viper ultimate hits Sky. Going to be annoying, but it doesn't actually last that long. Doom is just tanky. I'm assuming, though, there's already an Aghanim Scepter on the Viper. Increasing the range, decreasing the mana cost. Oh, gee. They're waiting. BirdGang, they are just waiting for the slightest overextension. And once they get it, they're going to win the team fight. But if BirdGang becomes impatient, I think there still is a small chance. As Segun, though, he really doesn't want to be on the front lines. This Bane just making life absolutely hell for Segun. In comes JYU and Storm Spirit. Holy crap, look at him just going to town. Cynical falling. FX will most likely follow up, but no, it's going to be Ranto. He ends up dying. That is 3 players dead almost instantly. BirdGang looking for a 4th. Can they get it? FX stalling for time. And actually survives. Tenbird low on health, but still with a bit of life left into him. And in the middle tower falls, but surprisingly, no follow-up. They have 5 members alive, but they don't want to go for the tier 3. They're going to take it easy, go for the Roshan, which has just recently respawned. But yeah, BirdGang 25-14. They're looking pretty darn solid, poised to take the match. Aegis and a cheese available that nobody seems to care about. And Storm Spirit actually grabbing both of them, as well as a sheep stick. Talk about some disables available. This guy is, well, he's not fat. That was the old spirit, Storm Spirit. I guess he's a bit chubby though with the items he has. Adding more initiation to BirdGang's repertoire, we see Sky pick up a blank dagger. So that's 3 heroes, I believe, with insane initiation ability for BirdGang. And even a Black King bar being bought by Tenbird. So 5 and Q, I mean, they're just not in the best spot. The Shadow Shaman has been nice for preventing deaths, but when it comes to the team fights, BirdGang has just too much burst damage for that weave to really come into effect in a long, extended fight. The Lifestealer, pretty much just not useful at all, thanks to the Bane. And the KSH hasn't really contributed too much to his team. Just overall, BirdGang, they've been making things happen, and 5 and Q have been unable to. Even we have Gandhi with an ultimate alt staff. The Agnum Scepter. Fun fact, Agnum is Rubik's dad. And when you get the scepter on Rubik, he'll say something along the lines of, Father's prized collection, or Father's prized staff. I don't remember the exact line, don't sue me. And BirdGang, they're moving towards the bottom. And the weave actually hits 3 of BirdGang's members. In comes Tenbird though, activating the Black King bar on Sega, and JYU moving forward. We do have a Lifestealer running away. Down goes Cynical. That's going to be no Grave Chills. Or no Shallow Graves. Ranto's going to be next. 5 and Q calls the GG. 35 minutes into the game. BirdGang with a victory. Despite a very long and drawn out match 1, resulting in a BirdGang loss, we have the opposite with BirdGang finishing off their opposition in a much more timely manner than match number 1. I have to say, just the draft was a lot better for BirdGang when it came to the later stages. The timing window for 5 and Q, it just kind of slowly faded over time.